Good morning. Welcome back to the Red Mic. Happy Wednesday. Glad you're here. Today's Red Mic message: victory or death. I should have done this yesterday. Shame on me for not doing it. But I do this every day, so I missed the anniversary by one day. So I apologize for that. Yesterday, I challenged the interns in our office, and we've got several UT students. Some come back for multiple terms, others are just there for a semester. And I challenged them yesterday to figure out the significance of the word of the day. Most of these guys are native Texans. I say guys, there's also young ladies. Um, Most of them are native Texans, so I challenged them with the word of the day yesterday because there was a significance to the day, significance to the word, and I wanted them to find out why. The word was beeves, Beeves. The archaic plural of the word beef. In other words, plural of the word cattle, right? Most of them needed a little nudging here and there to figure out, because I told them it was related to the day, it was related to being a native Texan, yada, yada, yada. Well, yesterday, here, I'm going to tell you so you don't have to look it up. Yesterday was the anniversary of the Travis letter. Now, if you're a Texan, whether you're native, naturalized, however you got here, it is a letter that runs through, in my opinion, the DNA of Texans. It's part of who we are and why we are the way we are and why we have so much pride in our state. You go to other states and people say, well, where are you from? You go, Texas. And they're like, oh yeah, I should have known. You're loud, you're brash, you're proud. And they don't understand it. And they think it's bravado. They think it's ego. And maybe it is a little, but because come on, Texas is Texas, right? Woohoo. Um, Woohoo. Did both. Did a whoop and a woohoo, right? The Travis letter boils it all down, because when you look at that letter, there's a lot of that explanation about who we are and why we are. Now, if you've ever wondered about what real leadership under pressure looks like without consultants, spin rooms, talking points, William B. Travis, who was the commandant of the Alamo, 26 years old, he wrote this letter from inside the Alamo on February 24th, 1836. He was 26 years old when he wrote this letter. He never turned 27. He and all of the defenders of the Alamo who stayed died there. Now, when you read the letter through that lens, it hits differently. He was not a gray-haired general. He was not a seasoned politician. He was a 26-year-old lawyer, school teacher, and officer making a decision that would echo for almost 2 centuries. So we're going to treat this like what it really is. This is a crisis leadership memo written when failure was overwhelmingly likely and survival was uncertain. The Travis letter is a modern leadership memo. Starts off, to anyone who still believes liberty is worth effort. Subject, situation, standards, decision, situation, report, right? And I'm paraphrasing and adding my own spin. Facts first, feelings later. Quote, I am besieged by 1,000 or more of the Mexicans, unquote. No panic, no adjectives, no self-pity. He opens with facts, and leaders who start with emotion lose credibility before the second sentence. Today's crisis memos start with, we're deeply concerned, we're monitoring the situation, this is complex. In other words, we're buying time because we don't know what to say. He proves his competence. Quote, a continual bombardment and cannonade for 24 hours and have not lost a man, unquote. Before he asks for help, he proves that his team is disciplined and holding. He doesn't say we're overwhelmed, we're under-resourced, we inherited a bad. He doesn't say any of that. He says, this is what we've done with what we have. And then he clearly defines the moral boundary. That, quote, the enemy has demanded a surrender at discretion, unquote. And in another quote, I have answered the demand with a cannon shot. This is the spine of the letter. There are lines that Travis will not cross. No committee, no hedging, no ongoing discussions. And that points out a failure of a lot of leadership, so-called leadership communications. Today's leaders blur boundaries in order to avoid backlash, and then they wonder why no one trusts them. He then made an appeal to the shared identity, not to any authority that he had. He said, quote, I call on you in the name of liberty, of patriotism. He doesn't cite his rank. He doesn't invoke power. He invokes, this is who we are. This is who you are. Crisis communications often lean on process instead of purpose. He then adds a clear call to action. Quote, to come to our aid with all dispatch. Dispatch. That means quickly, fast, come. Simple, direct, urgent. No task force, no listening tour, no stakeholder alignment sessions. And this points out another modern failure contrast of communications today. Vague asks of your audience will produce weak responses. He then goes on, acceptance of outcome without resentment. Quote, if this call is neglected, I am determined to sustain myself as long as possible, unquote. This is quiet, steely, determined leadership. He hopes for help. He's praying for help, but he doesn't outsource his own responsibility. Leaders today pre-write excuses in case support doesn't arrive, and then his signature. Victory or death. There's no shared responsibility. There's no collective accountability. It's a personal stake. Compare this to a lot of modern leadership. Most crisis statements end with legal disclaimers instead of conviction. And this is why modern communications in crisis situations fail. They're almost always built to reduce liability, delay decisions, preserve optionality, where the Travis letter was built to establish truth, define values, accept consequences. His letter survived the news cycle. It outsurvived him by almost 2 centuries. Modern crisis communications, they're throwaways. Now, the Travis letter obviously did not save the Alamo. It fell. But it did something just as important. It lit the fuse. Those words, written in ink, some would say symbolically they were written in blood and sweat and tears under fire. Those words became the rallying cry that hardened the resolve across Texas. They turned a doomed stand into a cause, and that loss into momentum. Remember, the Alamo wasn't born from victory. It was born from clarity, from courage, and a refusal to surrender principle for survival. The Travis letter helped save the Texas Revolution, not by winning a battle, because they lost the battle, but ultimately, the Travis letter gave people something worth fighting for. And ultimately, at San Jacinto, the Texians won the war. That is the difference between managing a crisis and helping to lead a revolution. God bless William B. Travis. God bless those souls who fought and died at the Alamo. God bless Texas, and God bless America. I love you all, and that is today's Red Mike message. I hope that you found this interesting. You can tell I kind of get into the ones that are related to history a little bit more. Thanks for being here. Please give me a like, a follow, and a share. The share is really important. If today's message hits you at all, let your friends know. I'd appreciate it. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and don't forget, victory or death, and also don't forget beeves, right? I'll see you again. Life is short. Drink the bourbon.